In this video, we're going to take a quick look at some utility bills to help you understand the data that you might be able to take from them. So let's start with the gas bill. So this is a real bill, so we've blanked out some of the key details. Uh, two answers. So this is a typical bill. The first part, page 1 on the left there, tells us some general information. The company name would be in there and the locations, but that's mostly about the money, and that's less crucial for us for a footprint perspective. So we're going to focus on page 2 of the bill on the right-hand side. So a couple of key things this is telling us. So one is the supply address. Particularly if you've got more than one office, this is really important because it helps you to check which office of data you're using. It will then have some dates. So the dates here that the readings relate to. So we've got a couple of weeks here in April 2023. What's also important here is to recognise one of these is an estimated reading. That you will see estimated readings on bills. They're okay, but just keep an eye on them because sometimes they might not reflect what you're really using, and what you want to see really is actuals, or in this case, a closing reading. The other thing to look at on this bill in particular is the units. So it's displaying a main record of 103.5 units, but this is in hundreds of cubic feet. Tend to be an older measures, probably an older meter, but they've done a conversion for you here into kilowatt hours. So you can see that it was 3245.7 kilowatt hours. So I'd recommend you use that on the bill. You don't need to allow for any standing charges. That doesn't need to be included. So here's an example of electricity bill. So similar to the gas bill, we don't need to worry too much normally about the front page of the bill. This one is perhaps a bit more useful. It's showing us an invoice period. So we can tally that with what we're looking at. It's also giving you a sense of how many kilowatt hours a day of electricity you use at your site and how that varies over the year. So that's interesting to see. But most of the data we want is over on this side, on the right-hand side. So we can see, for example, that between the 13th of May 23 and the 13th of April 23 and the 13th of May 2023, we used 1,911 kilowatt hours. So the difference between the two readings, and these are both actuals, which is great. So we can have a lot of confidence in this data. So we could take that 1911 kilowatt hours of electricity and we can add that to our carbon footprint data. Again, you don't need to include any of these other aspects. One other thing to just bear in mind for electricity bills is whether or not you're using renewable tariffs. So two examples here. This information should be shown on your bill. If not, you'll be able to get it from your supplier website. So the example on the left is a company that is supplying a reasonable amount of renewable energy, 58%. You can see in this middle column is from renewables, but that electricity supply is also relying on natural gas, coal, nuclear, and some other, which is probably hydrocarbons or imports. So it's not 100% renewable, even though it's better than nothing. And you could either use these percentages when you load the data, or perhaps this 183. This one on the right is a Scottish Power tariff. Now, this is Scottish Power's green tariff, and as we'd expect to see, that's a 100% renewable tariff. And what we see as we come down is that the CO2 emissions related to this are 0 grams of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour.